Welcome back to Building Character, where we figure out how to play as your favorite fictional characters in Dungeons & Dragons. Join the Patreon for this character sheet and a whole bunch more, and like and subscribe for better death saves next time you play. Maybe. Today we're building Elektra, a girl who dies and comes back to life, but not the other girl whose Marvel story arc is about her dying and coming back to life. This is a different one. Maybe some of the writers just needed a hand that day.
In the cage and piss up on the stages, only one soul.
Let's start off with our goals for this build. First, we need to fight really good. Knives, punches, kicks, that kind of thing. Next, we need some death power, or specifically, not death power, the power to not die. Finally, we'll get the silent scream, a little way to whisper into someone's brain until their brain breaks. I don't have footage of that, it's only in the comics, but it's rad, and I'm not skipping it. For stats, we're going to be using the standard point array from the player's handbook. Roll for stats if you want, just watch out for your multi-classing minimums. Dexterity will be number 1. If you want to fight the hand, you need to be good at hand-to-hand combat. Wisdom next, ninjas tend to be sneaky, but you don't get sneaked upon. Charisma after that, you're pretty charming and pretty great at manipulating people. To be fair, Matt's kind of a pushover. Follow that up with intelligence, you know all sorts of weird culty info. History doesn't have to be like normal history. Constitution is a bit low. If you're going to come back from the dead, first you have to die. We'll dump strength though. We don't need it and can fix it up with athletics anyway. Elektra is a human. She dies, so I kind of wanted to make her a reborn, but she also isn't a zombie, so we're just going to rock custom lineage, which is variant human, but kind of not. Grab the skill expert feat for athletics proficiency, then expertise in athletics to double your proficiency bonus with athletics checks, and +1 to an ability score of your choice. Pair that with your +2 from custom lineage, so you can have 18 dexterity at level 1. Grab deception for your skill of choice, and the noble background for history and persuasion proficiency, since you were a rich girl before you went too far. But you know, it don't matter anyway. We'll kick things off as a rogue for the most skills possible at level 1. When you take skill expert and start things off as a rogue, you know you're getting a lot of skills. Acrobatics, stealth, perception, and sleight of hand are all solid ways to be a ninja that fights ninjas. You get expertise in 2 more skills like acrobatics and stealth, which will help you with the nimbleness, +8 to those skills at level 1. That's ridiculous, good for you. You can use that nimbleness to pull off sneak attacks, letting you add a d6 of damage to an attack using a finesse or ranged weapon if you have advantage on the attack or an ally within 5 feet of them. Matt tends to like getting up close and personal, though it's not like he has a lot of other options. Everyone keeps fighting him in hallways. Second level rogues get cunning action, letting you dash, disengage, or hide as a bonus action for some superior mobility on the rooftops of Hell's Kitchen. Third level rogues get to choose a roguish archetype. Phantom rogues are great for getting that living dead girl vibe you're going for. You get Whispers of the Grave, letting you pick a skill or tool to be proficient with every short rest, so you can just kinda be good at everything you want. You also get Wails of the Grave, letting you use a silent scream after you land a sneak attack, picking another creature within 30 feet of the person you stabbed, and rolling half your sneak attack die in necrotic damage to deal to that creature. There's no rolling to hit or even a saving throw. It's just extra damage you can do an amount of times per day equal to your proficiency bonus. You also get steady aim here, letting you give yourself advantage on 1 attack per round as a bonus action, provided you didn't move. If you're just locked into a fight with someone one-on-one, this will guarantee you can get your sneak attack off. Also, your sneak attack bumps up to 2d6 here. 4th level rogues get an ability score improvement, so you can cap off your dexterity modifier nice and early. Elektra is one of the greatest fighters in the Marvel universe. Getting dexterity capped off fast is the best way to do that. 5th level rogues get uncanny dodge, letting you reduce damage by half as a reaction, as long as you can see the source of damage, so maybe you won't die, you'll just seem dead. Your sneak attack also bumps up to 3d6 here for better bamboozle strikes. I prefer the term bamboozle strike, we might just start using that instead. 6th level rogues get another set of expertise. Perception will stop ninjas from getting the best of you, and sleight of hand will help you do sick dagger flip tricks. Probably not as important as not getting snuck up on, but it's cool. 7th level rogues get evasion, letting you take half damage from failed dex saves and no damage from successful ones. That's probably why the hand don't use a lot of missiles. You just dodge them pretty easily. Your bamboozle strikes also bump up to 4d6 extra damage. 8th level rogues get another ability score improvement. Let's start working on our wisdom. I'm guessing you know why. It's because we're gonna multi-class to monk. I know we multi-classed monk and rogue a lot, but hey, there's a lot of sneaky characters that are really good at hand-to-hand fighting as well, and it's a pretty smooth mix. You get martial arts, letting you make unarmed attacks that deal 1d4 plus your dexterity in bludgeoning damage, and you can make an unarmed attack as a bonus action after you attack with a monk weapon, or an unarmed attack as an action. Monk weapons are any simple melee weapons that aren't heavy or two-handed. Daggers would work. Unfortunately, just because monk weapons and martial arts switch things to use your dexterity instead of strength, which is the definition of finesse, that does not make them finesse weapons. I don't like it, but it's fine since we'll just use daggers, and occasionally get an extra tap with a bonus action kick. You also get unarmored defense, making your AC 10 plus your dexterity and wisdom modifier when you're not wearing armor, which is good because you definitely keep things light, but also you have to if you want to use martial arts. It'll get better in a bit, don't worry. Second level monks get key points they can use to do cool revenant stuff like Step of the Wind, letting you dash or disengage as a bonus action, but since you can already do that as a rogue, the benefit is being able to double your jump distance and clear a more difficult gap if you really need to. Patient Defense will be much more useful for you, letting you dodge as a bonus action so you're less likely to get hit. You can use this first, then if someone does hit you, Uncanny Dodge, which isn't a normal dodge since it's uncanny, like those X-Men. Flurry of Blows lets you make 2 unarmed attacks instead of 1 with your action for a windmill kick. Always make it a windmill kick. Windmill kicks are rad. If you're staying unarmored, you can use unarmored movement to run a little bit faster. You should be. Unarmored gives you better AC than any armor you're proficient with. Who would have guessed the exposed midriff would actually make you less exposed? Third level monks can choose a monastic tradition, and if you want to be an avatar of unfathomable demonic power, Kensei Monk is the only one you can choose since you get Way of the Brush for calligraphy proficiency. I guess you also get Kensei weapons, which are special monk weapons that let you do things like agile parry, adding 2 to your AC after you make an unarmed attack as part of your action, and you're holding a Kensei weapon in your hand. I don't think about it as not using the weapon, I think about it as using the weapon to block. You could also make a Kensei shot, adding a D4 to the damage of ranged attacks with a Kensei weapon as a bonus action. A thrown weapon attack is a ranged weapon attack, even if it isn't with a ranged weapon, so it would work with your daggers if you made your daggers Kensei weapon. All monks get to deflect missiles here, letting you reduce incoming damage of ranged attacks by 1d10 plus your dexterity modifier and monk level, and you can even toss it back with a key point. This should stop baddies from getting a bullseye. 4th level monks get slow fall, letting you reduce your falling damage by 5 times your monk level, which can be useful if you run around on rooftops as much as Elektra does. You also get an ability score improvement. Keep pushing that wisdom modifier up. We should be able to cap it soon. That would make your AC 22 after an agile parry. It's pretty good. 5th level monks finally get some attack speed thanks to extra attack, letting you make 2 attacks instead of 1 with your action, or up to 4 with a flurry of blows. All of those attacks should deal a bit more damage since your monk die also bumps up to a d6 here, so unarmed attacks and daggers are more viable weapons even without sneak attack, but do try and get sneak attack, it's good. Stunning Strike will help you get sneak attack, forcing a constitution saving throw on a creature you hit with a melee attack, stunning them until the end of your next turn for advantage on your follow-up attacks, and it only costs 1 key point, pretty cheap and pretty useful. 6th level monks can fight anything the Marvel Universe has to offer thanks to key empowered strikes and magical Kensei weapons, making your attacks magical in terms of overcoming resistances if they're using an unarmed attack or a Kensei weapon, which they should be. I don't know why you need to stab Ben Grimm, but if you do, you'll be glad you can. You can also make a deft strike as a Kensei monk, adding an extra monk die to the damage of 1 attack per round with a Kensei weapon for a dagger that can deal 6d6 damage after a sneak attack. It's not the size of the weapon, it's how you use it. In my script, I spelled the word size differently. That's a homophone joke that really only works for me, but I wanted to share it. 7th level monks get Stillness of Mind, letting you remove an effect of Charming or Frightening as an action. I'd imagine after you die, it's pretty hard to scare you. Oh, you're a ghost? Cool, I'm dead. 8th level monks get an ability score improvement, letting you cap off your wisdom modifier, so if the enemy doesn't get a bullseye, they just don't hit you. 9th level monks get unarmored movement improvement, letting you move up walls and over water when you're not wearing armor. That should get you to the top of roofs to run around with your boyfriend. Sounds like a fun date. Not really. I don't like heights. 10th level monks get Purity of Body, making you immune to poison and disease, which includes poison damage as well. It would be kind of embarrassing if you came back from the dead and then died from the flu or from tetanus. I bet tetanus is a big problem with all the ninjas and their metal weapons. 11th level Kensei monks get to Sharpen the Blade, spending a key point to add 1 to the attack and damage rolls of a weapon for a minute, and you can spend up to 3 for the sharpest sai you can have. Your monk die also bumps up to a d8, so you effectively have a rapier you can throw. Our capstone is the 12th level of monk. For 1 last ability score improvement or a feat, we're going to grab the mobile feat, plus 10 movement speed, and the ability to ignore difficult terrain while dashing. Creatures you've attacked cannot make opportunity attacks against you. You don't even need to land the hit, just try to hit them. With Flurry of Blows, that means you could attack 4 different enemies that then cannot make opportunity attacks against you. Thanks to your unarmored movement speed, you can have 60 feet of free disengagement. That's a normal humanoid's dash distance. Makes you quite the hit and run fighter. Now that we've hit level 20, let's figure out how viable this build is. First, you're quite the hit and run fighter with mobility options and free disengagement. You're also dealing consistent damage with all magical attacks and guaranteed ways to roll your sneak attack, not to mention Silent Scream, hitting someone else without even rolling. Finally, you're hard to hit with 20 base AC and 22 after an agile parry. For weaknesses, you're probably gonna die with barely over 100 HP, so every hit that lands is gonna do a hefty percentage of your health and damage. You're also dealing with low strength, so saving throws could push you places you'd rather not go. Finally, key points are kind of a limited resource, and sharpening your blade can use a quarter of them in 6 seconds, but it shouldn't be an issue since nobody can hit you. Run around, stab people, then dodge everyone's attacks. Just make sure nobody can hit you, otherwise you could end up being taken out by Lester fighters. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, subscribe for more. We make 2 videos every week. Join the Patreon for this character sheet and a whole bunch more, and sub to Tulok and Mango for more Tulok fun.